Hey guys, it's Aaron from Intune Music, and today we're going to talk about how do we practice singing at home. Okay, so today's video is all about how do I even practice singing when I'm at home. So some of you may find that without a teacher coaching you physically, it's a bit difficult for you to practice singing because firstly, you may not know how to do the exercises correctly, or you may be a bit afraid to do the exercises because you might hurt yourself, or you don't know what exercises to do at all. Okay, so firstly, what you need is a quiet room that is not going to disturb your family, because sometimes when we're practicing singing, it can be very loud. So we don't want to be practicing singing right in the living room where the whole family is and they're doing their work and you are singing at the top of your voice right in the middle of your house. That's not really advisable. So it doesn't have to be a soundproof room, it just needs to be maybe a bedroom, and then you can start practicing and doing your warm-up. Next, you probably need a musical instrument. So it doesn't really matter if you can't really play it very well. You just need to be able to play certain notes. So for example, if you are using a keyboard, you just need to be able to identify the notes and play the notes semitone by semitone so that you can guide yourself as to what starting note you want to start singing on. So for example, if you start on C, you want to give yourself a C and you start the vocal exercise, and then you move up to C sharp, start the vocal exercise, and then you move up to D and start the vocal exercise, and so on. If you're not sure how to do it, you might want to ask a friend who knows how to play a musical instrument so that he or she can guide you on the basics. Okay, so some students also ask, teacher, what time should I practice my singing? Should I do it in the morning, the afternoon, or at night? Generally, most people find it easier to do either in the afternoon or at night. Most people find it difficult to do it in the morning because a lot of people, when we wake up, the voice doesn't really feel warmed up yet. But we can actually do some exercises in the morning. For example, we can do vocal siren, or we can do lip trill, or we can do things to warm up our voice in the morning. There isn't really a hard and fast rule as in, oh, I can only practice at night, I can't sing in the morning or the afternoon. Some people find it easy to sing in the morning, some people find it better to sing in the afternoon. Some people get sleepy in the evening, so they want to do things earlier. Whereas some people get more warmed up at night, so they just want to do everything at night. So whichever works for you, you have to know what is best for your own voice and how your body feels throughout the day, and find the best time for you to practice your singing. Okay, so for those of us who have the luxury of having lessons with a vocal coach, it's always good for you to record down the vocal exercises that are done during lesson so that you can hear what your vocal coach does. And of course, you can hear what you do during lesson, especially if your vocal coach tells you, okay, this is correct. So record it down so that when you go home and you forgot about what you did during the lesson, or it's just a blur and you are too stressed during lesson to even pay attention to what you're doing, which happens to a lot of beginner students. So just taking the recording and playing it back to yourself helps you to be able to recap what was being done during the lesson for that vocal exercise, and also to hear what tone you were using for that exercise. Of course, do seek the permission of the vocal coach before you record, just out of respect. Alright, so another pointer for practicing at home is how often should I practice? So it's always better for you to practice more often rather than, let's say, sitting down and devoting 4 or 5 hours to singing practice. The more you practice, the more tired you are, the lower the concentration, and the more likely you're going to make mistakes in your practice. So we always want to be alert and fresh when we are practicing. So always practice more often rather than sitting down and practicing for a very long time, because the more you do the exercise, the more it gets ingrained into your brain. Of course, course, make sure that the repetition is correct. So some beginners ask, how should I practice, or what should I even practice? Personally, I wouldn't recommend singing the same song over and over and over and over and over again. If you really wanted to drill a song, you would pick out the difficult parts and you would go through that line or that word or that phrase, and you would see how to make it easier for you to sing it. So remember, don't just keep singing the song over and over again. Pick out the parts that you want to practice and make sure that you're more specific in what you want to achieve. If you just want to work on technique, if you just want to do vocal exercises, how do you do that? I would recommend that we just focus on one vocal exercise for the day. So let's say if today is, let's say, siren day, so we're just going to do the siren from morning to night. Do it often. Maybe you could do a siren or two and then just stop, and then the next half an hour do another siren or two. If we're going to do many vocal exercises in one day, sometimes we don't really pay attention to how we actually do the exercise, and we're not really focusing on how we can make it better. So one of the problems of practicing at home is that you have a lot of distraction. Maybe you have a lot of food at home, you end up munching every few minutes, or you have Netflix. That's a major distraction. Or you have family members who are always disturbing you. You just can't concentrate because you're at home and there are a lot of people at home and you feel shy. So that's why I mentioned that you want to find a space in which you feel safe and you can just close the door and just be inside, and you can do the practicing there without people coming to disturb you. So I think that's really important, finding that space, and also communicating with your family members to let them know that, hey, I'm doing my practicing now. I will end maybe in an hour's time, so please try to leave me alone. Don't come and distract me. Of course, we would also have to be very disciplined, so don't switch on the computer if you don't have to. Don't switch on Netflix. Don't use your mobile phones to play games. Yeah, these are all the things that will be very distracting, and you will end up doing something else instead of practicing singing. Okay, so these are just some tips for you to practice singing at home. So if you have any feedback or comments for us, please drop them in the comments box below. Okay, if not, we will see you in the next video.